supremacy. And with this particular video, I want to talk about Kim Jong-un and the power of acknowledging supreme leadership. Korea, one of the last truly independent countries, independent small countries left, acknowledge their supreme leader, the supremacy of their leadership. That's why it's hard to topple them. That's why it's hard to take them down, because they acknowledge the power of supreme leadership and the supremacy of their leadership. It's like a nationalistic supremacy that is embodied within supreme leadership. So by him being the supreme leader, he has the final say. And when it comes to North Koreans and their nation, there is no one that is above their supreme leader. This separates them from all other nations, all other governments, all other jurisdictions, all other powers. There is no one for them above their leader, their supreme leader, Kim Jong-un. And because of that, they have been in power. They have not been invaded. They have not been destabilized. And there's no European over there calling the shots. Because they have this lineage and this tradition of supreme leadership, they were able to get to the point of having a nuclear power, having the power to destroy and take out other nations at the push of a button if necessary. So let's look at nuclear power as a consequence, a byproduct of supreme leadership. Now, it's hard to take out a supreme leader. Africans have a lot of money, a lot of numbers, but they don't have supreme leadership. That's why they can be toppled. That's why there can be coups. They can take down this leader or take down that leader because they don't acknowledge supreme leadership within their country, within their nation. They acknowledge white supremacy. White imperialism is still the supreme leadership, and they just have leaders that somewhat fall under that, what we call neo-colonialists. They're under the colonies. They still look to Europe and look to the white man for validation. They're leaders, but white supremacy is still there. European supremacy. So these leaders can affect and influence the people of the nation, the imperialists, at any point that they want to, in order to destabilize the government. The white man can pick out their leaders and criticize their leaders and use propaganda to attack their leaders. That didn't work in the case of Kim Jong-un, because there's a case of supreme leadership. Now, there's a lot of allegations that are circulating about Kim Jong-un, but none of them will do anything to destroy his power or his position, which represents the integrity of North Korea. I'll just go through some of the allegations that has been made about Kim Jong-un. The crimes that he's been accused of: extermination, murder, enslavement, torture, imprisonment, rape, forced abortion, and other sexual violence, persecution on political, religious, racial, and gender grounds, the forcible transfer of populations, the enforced disappearance of persons, and the inhumane acts of knowingly causing prolonged starvation. Now, listen to those allegations. That should take him down. He should be taken down because of these allegations, right? Because, I mean, of course, you know, the West is saying this about him. He should have been taken down. Because if you say these things about a black leader, he'll be taken down in 24 hours, and black people will agree immediately. Oh yeah, we need to get rid of him just off you saying these things, just off of these allegations. Extermination, murder, enslavement, torture, imprisonment, rape, forced abortion, and other sexual violence, persecution of political, religious, racial, and gender grounds, enforceable transfer of population, the enforced disappearance of persons, and the inhumane act of knowingly causing prolonged starvation. A black leader would be that would be done. But since they acknowledge the supremacy of their leadership and they accept their supreme leader, these allegations are to no avail. They will not allow their government to be stabilized and destroyed based on these allegations or perceptions of their leaders, or these criticisms or accusations. They say, no, he is a supreme leader, so you can't usurp his power through the narrative that you put on him and what he do. You can't put your own narrative on him, because there's no narrative that is higher than his supremacy amongst his people and his nation. It's hard to take him out of power. It's hard to destroy that nation and that government and to invade it, because they acknowledge their supreme leader, the need for a supreme leader. Where there is no supreme leader, there is no nation. Anybody can come and cast their opinion, cast their perspective, cast their doubt, come up with their allegations and accusations. Anybody come from a higher perception, be it religious, moral, or political, and easily take your leaders out of power, easily, overnight, because you all don't acknowledge the importance of a supreme leader. You won't become a supreme nation until you can acknowledge a supreme leader, that human being that is higher when it comes to your people than all other people on the earth. And the height of that leader and his supremacy can set you up to be a supreme nation, can set you up above all nations when it comes to issues in regards to your people. The supremacy of your leadership will be the supremacy of your nation. If you don't have no supreme leader, then your nation will be below all the nations of the world. Some of our teachers tried to bring that to us. Noble Ali brought you a supreme grand sheik. But see, when you come with all that doctrine and religion and all that, it's always easy to argue out your own supremacy. You want to bring your own leaders down, not realizing that you're going down with it. A nation is as supreme as it will allow itself to be through the acknowledgement of its supreme leadership. If anyone's conversation, ideas, perceptions, indoctrination is beyond your leadership, your entire nation is beyond that people. The importance of supreme leadership. That's why Kim Jong-un is so successful, because he can represent the Korean nation as the supreme leader. And no nation shall be above him. No nation shall be above the Korean people as long as they have a supreme leader. And when it comes to North Korea, other nations will have to sit at the table with them and talk. And things will go the way North Korea decides that it goes. And that's what should happen with the black nation. But we have to get out of the white man's religion and indoctrination and ideas and concepts and customs and all that, and acknowledge our own supreme leadership. because we got everything else. We got all these self-righteous, looking for white validation Negroes. We got that. But we don't have that supreme leadership that can put the white man in his place and put the nation in the black nation in its place. We got it. We just won't acknowledge it. Because we've been taught that no Negro can have that kind of power. And if no Negro can really possess that type of power, then no Negro will ever experience true black nationalism, true independence, and true sovereignty. Because sovereignty is supremacy over everything. Our leaders is too religious. They're dealing with the Quran. They're dealing with the Bible. You have to be supreme. Our leadership must be supreme over all doctrines that are outside of our nation. Because other nations can interpret those doctrines and can use their interpretation and their perception of those doctrines and of those religions against us. So we will not gain supremacy through religion. We will not gain supremacy through politics or through their laws. Because they are supreme. They're the Supreme Court, the Supreme Judge. They're the supreme when it comes to their laws and their politics and to their governments. We will only become supreme when we can find no reason not to acknowledge the supremacy of our leadership and the supremacy of our nation. When we can find no other reason than to do that, then we will become supreme as a people, and people will be forced to acknowledge our supremacy. Because then we will implement black supremacy. We will implement black supreme New World Order. But we side with the white man in bringing down our leaders. We side with the enemy. And we make the enemy's nation supreme. We keep their world supreme. We keep their nation supreme. Look at Dennis Rodman crying over Trump. He's keeping the nation supreme. Both Trump and Kim Jong-un are evil men. Both of them. Both of them are evil. But Dennis Rodman is crying over these two evil men. But he will never cry over his black nation and his supreme leaders within his black nation. He made excuses for Kim Jong-un. He made excuses and still said, contrary to the facts of the atrocities committed by Kim Jong-un, he's a good guy, he's alright. He accepts the supremacy of Kim Jong-un, and he simultaneously accepts the supremacy of Donald Trump. But when it comes to black leadership, you focus more on the wrongs than you do on the central theme and the understanding of the significance of supremacy when it comes to black nationalism and when it comes to black nation building. There's a problem there. Black supremacy means supreme leadership when it comes to black people. There is no one higher than the leadership, the supreme leadership within black supremacy. There is no one higher than that, of any race or any nationality, that can solve any dispute, that has the ultimate opinion, conclusion, or ruling on any situation or any circumstance in regarding the black nation. That's what black supremacy means, that there is no nation higher than us. We're just looking at it from a racial perspective, like that this is racism. This individual black person versus individual white person. No, from a nationalistic perspective, there is no nation in a higher position or power or authority or government or status outside of us that is higher than us ever. That we are the highest jurisdiction, the highest ruling. We have the highest status when it comes to our nation and our people and our community. No one outside of us is higher than us, of no other race or nationality or ethnicity. That's what black supremacy is. We have the final ruling. And if the ruling does not represent or reflect black supremacy, the maintenance of our nation and our government and our community, then it is no ruling at all. It has no power to it. It has no authority. And it will not be recognized by us. Because we are for us and by us. But as long as you got all these other ideologies and doctrines and all that, and you just cannot acknowledge supreme leadership in and of itself, you will continue to fall for that same old okie doke. You will continue to fall for white supremacy. He will slide in there with his books and with his priest and with his this and his that, and you got your ears wide open. And you say, to hell with all your doctrines, all your religion, all your laws, all your morality, all your traditions, all your customs. The hell with all that. If it ain't black supremacy, if it ain't our supreme leadership, then it means absolutely nothing to us. If it doesn't mean us being in a high position and us staying in power and being in a position of rulership, then it means absolutely nothing to us whatsoever. We don't even want to hear it. If it doesn't reflect our supremacy, we don't even want to hear it. And when we get to that point, then we will come into power and we'll become an independent and sovereign nation, because you'll never become independent and sovereign if you are not within yourself mentally independent and sovereign. If you're still sharing ideas and customs and traditions and religious notions with your enemy, then you are not independent, you are not sovereign. You have to be supreme over everything that he brings to you to put him beneath you. And some people say, well, that's racism. Why would you want to be supreme over other people because of their race? No, we want to be supreme over our nation. And when I say supreme over our nation, I mean we want to be supreme over our own affairs. We want to determine our own destiny. We want to ensure the survival and the posterity of our own nation. We want to ensure that for ourselves. So when you come to us from some other nation or nationality, we're going to say, hey, we're supreme over anything that you're coming with. You go be in your own nation. Or you either going to be under black supremacy within our nation, or you go be in your own nation and be supreme over the affairs of your own nation. You will no longer be supreme over us. We must determine our own future and the future of our own nation and our own people. And the only way we can do that is by acknowledging supreme leadership and put nothing, no doctrine, ideology, information, or anything above our supreme leadership. And I guarantee you, we'll come into power overnight. We'll come into power overnight, because that's the only thing that can unify, and the only thing to be unified under as the masses of black people. It's King Noble Black Supremacy, signing out.